Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett live in studio, back from Georgia for the weekend. And NCAA 2025 is here, or at least closer than it's ever been. Now, we all have been waiting for a decade at this point. And finally, it's happening. Patrick, what are you most excited about?
Josh, that trailer was phenomenal. I mean, it fired me up, brought back, some good vibes, good energy, right? That's a great game, one of the best games, and we're bringing it back. My only question mark is that they really didn't show anything in the trailer of the game. So it makes me wonder, what have they been doing? Because this game was supposed to come out last year, Josh.
I think I did see in the trailer they were designed. They showed them designing the stadiums though and stuff.
Right, which then makes me wonder, is that going to be done in time?
We have a lot of questions now. I like GTA 6, for instance. Mm-hmm. That was supposed to be out at a certain time, and then got pushed back a little bit, and then people are like, are we ever going to get it? We think so.
Yeah, but they dropped that trailer, though.
They did drop the trailer, right? And they did have the gameplay, which, but half of it was just CGI version of stuff that's actually happening in Florida, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they might have just been using AI of the videos.
They could have. Yeah, where NCAA elected to go the route of, hey, we're going to show you us making the mascot.
Right, and I think they could have probably just taken some of the most exciting plays that happened in college football. Mm-hmm. Just put them together and then maybe made it's CGI.
And that would have got me fired up. Maybe that's the full May release because they said more information in May.
So May, that's probably would be the route because that would be electric. I'm excited to listen. I've been dreaming for a while about making Maryland a powerhouse, making them the kings of the Big Ten, and I'm going to be doing that. And I'm excited to start that journey. And I haven't really been excited for a game like this ever, and because since I was a kid at least.
Wow, it's this and iRacing 2025 on the console.
Oh,
and that's you get in a sim, but
it's gonna be a big year,
huge year.
No, I'm so ecstatic. You're already hearing people, talking about what they're gonna do, who they're gonna play as. Now, what I want to know, Patrick, is how the heck are you gonna do NIL in this game?
Well, I don't know, Josh, because you got so many questions. It's you want it to be fun. You want to take a school like Toledo, a school like Louisiana Lafayette, and you want to take them to the glory land.
Right.
But if you want it to be even a little realistic, you're losing half your roster.
Right. What if it's one of those things where you can control school assets? Be like, hey, I just sold our engineering program. Mm-hmm. We will be having a 5-star recruit at quarterback.
Right. And then if you're Florida State, you're like, hey, I just made a deal with Saudi Arabia. They're going to bring in money.
Right. But what happens then in a year from now? It's okay, well, I sold out. We won the championship. Turns out that doesn't move the needle with recruits too much. What are we going to do? Do we
you go get the better job then. Because you did your job. You brought Louisiana Lafayette.
Right. So you're basically
title.
Those schools' dynasties. You short window. It's win now and then.
So not only in that hypothetical, not only you won a national championship,
right?
You killed the engineering program,
right?
And you still can't get recruits,
right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah.
Now, see, back in the day, I remember when it was dynasty mode. You could create a recruit, right? So I made Patrick Cassett,
right?
And I forget what school I was. I might have been Maryland, and I was like, if we get this 5-star, 99 overall, just absolute quarterback to come play at Maryland, that's great. Unfortunately, we couldn't win him over in recruiting. And so I then had to go play him when he was at Texas in the national championship. Oh, and that's a tough one.
Did you win, though?
We did. It's just tough, but it's tough because it's I don't want to see me not succeed.
Right. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
So, you didn't get him.
I didn't get him.
You didn't get yourself.
I didn't get myself. I couldn't convince myself to come to the school. How am I going to convince other recruits to come to the school?
Oh, man. It's going to be a lot. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's, and now Nick Saban's not going to be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
How's that gonna go?
Yeah.
Like, can I will there be legacy coaches like that I could like play as or bring? Like, if I was, for instance, like controlling a school, could I bring like I want to get Urban Meyer in the building?
Lee Corso.
Like when we pull these guys in, we're gonna see how they do it. They said it's not just gonna be Madden though, and that's the big thing. It's not gonna be Madden.
Right.
They make Madden, so
They
hard
make
for me to believe.
but it's not gonna. Right. It can't
completely
be Madden.
different football game.
100%.
I don't know. It's better be good. It'll be good. Speaking of changes that are happening, NFL things are going on right now. Blitz Boy just got cut.
Unfortunate.
And it is unfortunate. Jamal Adams, at one point, I was told very good, one of the best in the league.
Really good. That's what I was told.
And I was told that he really kind of had one specialty. And one of the things that you would think a football player would have, which is hands, he did not.
No. Well, and that was the thing is you can take a player off the Jets, but you can't take the jet out of them.
Right.
And so it's tough for Jamal Adams because they gave up 2 first-round picks, I think, for him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not even talking about the money.
The money, right. And it turns out that maybe he was so good because he just blitzed.
Right.
And it turns out you do need skill, but
maybe he should have moved to like outside linebacker.
Outside linebacker. Could you imagine him flying around?
Yeah.
Outside linebacker.
That could have been the thing. Now, what I think is interesting is obviously head coach of Seattle Seahawks now, Mike McDonald. He comes in from the Ravens. Blitz Boy just feels like a guy that the Ravens would actually bring in like a couple weeks before training camp. Is like, okay, let's see. And then all of a sudden he comes in and plays his best football of his life. Like that's the Raven way. Like take like a veteran guy, put them in a young team as like a veteran leadership presence. And then all of a sudden they ball out and they play their best football. Mike McDonald, is he throwing the Ravens a bone and saying, hey, I go to the Seahawks. I'll let you have one of the players that are really good, and you guys can add to your defense. You lose me, but you'll get a good guy.
Handshake agreement.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's one way to think about it. What comes to mind is former Ravens defensive coordinator, who I think is also Blitz Boy. It's Wink Martindale. And so you start going, well, how can we get Jamal Adams and Wink Martindale together?
In the building, because Wink, if we remember correctly, I think he's cut ties with the Giants.
He did.
I'm not sure. Like, I do believe like he's technically still under contract.
Well, they mutually agreed.
Did they?
I think so. And so my thing is I'm trying to figure out how can we get eligibility for Jamal Adams because Wink Martindale's the Michigan defensive coordinator.
Oh.
So maybe Jamal comes on the staff.
Right.
Because they're both the original Blitz Boy.
That's so true. Wink, the Michigan Harbaugh, like
this is post Harbaugh now.
Well, now, yeah,
yeah,
right. It's all, but everything's connected. It's all like. Do you think that the Harbaughs are gonna like do like handshake agreements? Like, for instance, there's a lot of like Mike McDonald Ravens. He's like, hey, I'm gonna send him to Michigan, and you make him. Give him the confidence to be
to call
in
plays.
Charge of it,
right?
And call the plays, and then send him back. Like, do you think that one day they'll be like that? They're just gonna be like, hey, listen, I got a guy who doesn't really fit the system. He's really good though. You give me that guy who's gonna fit my system. And they just like handshake agreements, help each other out until it's like, okay, well, AFC Championship game, Ravens Chargers. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's like two really,
and then you go, and then the winner plays the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, and that would be.
Or think about this, like the boys in the fantasy league. You always have like a couple. Like I've been fortunate to not really have this happen, maybe once in my fantasy career. But the two guys who are like, hey, let me win this year.
Collusion.
I'll let you win next year.
Collusion.
And then they just drop all their best, trade all their best players. And then that one person just wins. Like, we could be like a situation where it's like, okay, you give us all your best players. Like, give us Keenan Allen, give us all them. We'll go win this year, and then next
year we'll give them back.
We'll give them
You
back,
get- you
and
get-
you get a couple of our guys.
You get Zay Flowers next year,
Right.
or something like that.
Could be interesting. Also happening in the NFL, we're seeing a lot of clips coming out of the Super Bowl. We've got a lot of mic'd up moments. There's some gems I really have enjoyed. What I think is first there's the overtime stuff.
We don't need to talk about
which that was
that.
so
Why?
funny though. What them running back? They're like, they wanted it. We were gonna kick it off. They wanted it. And so that was, to me, that was just so funny. What I wish more than anything in the world is that the Chiefs won the coin toss, they elect to kick it off, and they see like the 49ers go,
Be like, yes.
wait, why'd they kick it to us? Why did they wanted us to have it? Like, that's what I think would have been the best scenario, like the most funniest. But we're also seeing this clip of George Kittle blocking. George, I don't know
It was a George on George crime.
what's the George's last name? Something.
Costanza.
I don't know if that one's the one. Whatever it is. So he's blocking. He says, he's like, hey, George. And then as he's doing this and he's making this joke, the ball's just fumbling behind him. George, the one he's blocking, he's the one who actually gets and recovers the fumble. And so I just think, to me, that was the funniest thing. Like, just making the joke in the game. Turns out, like, maybe
That could have been really
Maybe you-
costly. Right.
you just lock in a little bit more, and maybe you get that fumble.
Does George Kittle not love football enough? Does he
Well-
not care?
Right. And I remember 2 years, or when he last played the 49ers in the Super Bowl, or played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl,
Right.
he said he's coming back with vengeance.
He did.
And I think what he meant by that was he's coming back with like some jokes in the pocket.
Some jokes, right? Yeah. I mean, that's,
Like, he's like, I'm coming back.
vengeance.
And I will make you guys, like, I will tease you guys.
Vengeance comes in different
Quite a bit.
ways, different forms. And so, yeah, good for George.
100%. Also happening, we had this morning, Patrick, we had some news break. To me, it's the funniest thing ever. Just anytime we get reminded that Antonio Brown still out there, still a person,
Oh, he's tweeting it
still
up.
tweeting. It's really refreshing. So there was a random account that Dove Kleiman tweeted. He was like, I don't know, is he a real person?
We don't know.
We don't know. Because originally I thought he was. Now I'm thinking not so much.
I don't think he's a real person.
But he's crushing it.
Is he? Everybody hates him.
They all follow him.
that is a good point.
They all listen to him.
Yeah.
He gets the retweets. So you tell me. So I think the people who hate him are just like Adam Schefter, because like Adam's like, oh, like a nameless. He is the nameless face, and like
It's like the insider, yeah.
yeah. So he tweets out, oh, did you know that Antonio Brown and J.J. Watt were on the same team? And AB's like, yeah, back before the guy was on roids.
Yeah, which is wild. And obviously we know everything Antonio Brown says is truthful. You know,
I've heard that, yes.
It means a lot. His words mean a lot.
I mean, really though, he's not been that wrong that many times. Like when he says things, there's some validity to it. Like I do recall some of the stuff him saying about the whole Buccaneers situation, kind of right.
Can we do you realize how funny it is that he quit in the middle of the game and then got a ride out of the stadium?
Right.
That was like, hey, I need someone to pick me up.
Well, he was hurt, and they were trying to force him to play. He couldn't do it. What's he supposed to do?
He obviously couldn't finish the game.
Right.
He could only play like the 2 and 1 quarter
Right.
of the game.
It was too much for him. He knows his limits better than anybody. So he tweets out that JJ Watt's on roids, which I think is going to stir some stuff up because the JJ Watt roids conversation has been one that it's been happening for a minute.
Yeah, but he's got the new haircut. So if he did have the steroids,
Is it a haircut or a hairstyle?
Hairstyle. So, but if he was on steroids in the past, I don't know if you could rock that hairstyle.
I don't know how that works 100%, like the correlation of that. But what I do know is that he obviously, like, people were asking players. There's a podcast going around. I think it was the Bussin' with the Boys, maybe.
Bussin'.
Talking about guys who everyone like knew was on steroids. Like you play them, like they know. And he threw out a name. Might have been Taylor. And he said J.J. Watt. And then like he backtracked a little bit because he knew, like, big name. He's like, and I'm not saying I was saying that. I'm saying it was in the circle. But like it seems like NFL locker room guys, consensus is like
So it sounds like J.J. Watt may have been
juicing.
So
now he's ultimate babyface.
Well, and you got to think that's probably why TJ's not winning the Defensive Player of the Year awards, is because they know it's his brother that tarnished his legacy.
Right. They're like, we don't. Wouldn't you think, though? I mean, they had to be testing all kinds of stuff, right?
You would think.
Like, was he on the antler spray?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was just like a deer antler spray situation with Ray Lewis.
We don't. Yeah, it could have been. But we don't know, and so I'm not here to say that he's on. On roids.
You know how funny that is? That's like, we can get a competitive advantage, like just using things that are just totally not meant for humans.
Right. Like, I don't know what the long term side effects of this are, but we're gonna do it, and it's gonna help us.
Yeah, it's gonna help us win this game.
So there was what's funny? I saw there was a baseball game, or like baseball league, and I think they just allow people to be on roids. Or
they're having the Olympics.
Oh, yes.
The all steroid Olympics.
All steroids, that's what it is.
Which may get more viewers.
Right, and here's what I think people are going to be like, oh, well, the integrity of the game.
Who cares?
But I think that's what people are going to say, like, oh, so he hits home runs further? Like, because they're all in the same playing field. It's not like it's an unfair advantage. It does suck, like, if that's where sports head, for instance. So say because let's be real, we know it. If the all-steroid Olympics somehow eventually outperforms the Olympics, the all-steroid Olympics doesn't, like, the Olympics doesn't become the all-steroid, change.
Right.
The all-steroids Olympics just becomes the Olympics now. That's just what it is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Then, how long until other leagues get created, other leagues follow, because you follow where the money goes, and then it's gonna suck because, like, one day, like, you're gonna be in high school and you're like, you're gonna be playing and you're gonna go, well, like, I can't really make the league unless I do steroids, but I kind of want to have kids, and what are you gonna do? It's the same thing with, like, the Neuralink. Like, if everybody has Neuralink and you don't have Neuralink, you're at a major disadvantage. But, like, what if you don't want to have, like, a machine strapped to your head?
Oh, and Elon moved that company out of Delaware. And that's
so it's further away from us.
It's further away. Yeah,
that's the thing. So now, like, is the NFL eventually going to be like the off the grid league? Like,
they might be trending in that direction.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, would you? Okay, right now, they're like, Patrick, you not on steroids, not good enough to make the regular Olympics, but the way your body responds to steroids, you're good enough to make the all steroids Olympics. Do you do it?
What event am I in?
Volleyball.
I may. If it was swimming or something, I would be like, no, I could care less. Volleyball, you know how electric that would be?
Right.
Because you're telling me that, like, I can just jump higher and like spike harder. That's pretty cool, right?
Right, but do you, like, say, like, hey, my body's, I mean, I'm going to mess it up.
But what if I was like, spin zone, you tell me this now, I'm like, okay, I need to go pop out a kid.
Right.
It's like, we need to let me find someone,
right,
have a kid, then take the steroids,
right,
and then provide for my family.
Right. Right. That's what. Okay, so I could see that argument. I don't know what I would do. I personally think that
you're telling me if there was a steroid spike ball league, you wouldn't go in.
Frick. That's a good. And if it was big and, like, there's people watching it, you're right.
You would totally go in.
Like, I would. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm bound to lose my hair too eventually.
That's why they make hats.
Right.
That's why.
Right. They make hats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think would be fine. That would be. It's heading that way. We know it.
Yeah.
What I'm scared is when they're going to make the, like, so for instance, and I saw people talk about this, the Neuralink. What happens when people playing sports have Neuralink?
I don't know, Josh.
Does that, like, at what point are we just watching, like, a Madden simulation? You know what I'm saying?
Josh, that is way too big of a thing for me to
We'll get there.
comprehend.
We'll cross that. We'll revisit this conversation in a year. Write it down.
My reminder.
Right. Put a reminder. We'll
Reminder,
revisit this conversation
February
here.
16th. Well, it'll probably be 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of new, MLB dropped new jerseys in collaboration with Nike and
Michael Rubin.
longtime friend of the show, doesn't know we exist, Michael Rubin. Who, by the way, did you see the photos I sent you of Michael Rubin?
Yep.
It was Michael Rubin, and who was he with? He was with it was at the Super Bowl.
Well, he wasn't with Mr. Beast.
Oh right, he was. So Mr. Beast is like posting photos, and I got friends who are just they're reposting the Mr. Beast photo because like they're like and so
He's one of the biggest guys on the planet. Like that's just what he is, right?
right, and so I'm seeing, and like whenever Mr. Beast posts, like because of like who my mutual followers are on Instagram, I see it, I can't not see it, and so I was like looking at it. I'm like, oh, Michael Rubin, he's just in the mix here. And like every photo, it like looks like it's literally like the two people like this. And then Michael, and like literally one of the photos is like sticking his head in between the two like this. Like not like right in there. Like he's like this behind it. It's the funniest thing in the world. And he just dropped new jerseys and people hate them.
I would say since Michael Rubin is such a dear friend of the show, I don't want to speak bad on Fanatics and Nike, but I'm going to say the quality certainly looks like it could be better. And a lot of people were comparing them to a DH gate order. And I just want to say I'm still waiting for my DH gate order from about a year and a half ago. Still waiting on that one.
So my thing is, it does look like, you know how if you ran like a race, like you ran like a half marathon, like there always has that little like lightweight like polyester like shirt that print, and it's like it's not like the Under Armour quality like polyester that's like really nice. It's like the super thin, like not so nice, but it's athletic material.
Yeah, like the number's gonna wear off after about 5 turns in the dryer.
Right. It looks like that. With buttons down the middle.
Yeah, it just feels like they could have, instead of maybe like heat pressing, maybe they could have just stitched on the number. And I don't know if anybody would have an issue.
Right. I think now I think it's the time is to ask. Oh,
has Michael Rubin been spending too much time trying to mentor these rookie quarterbacks?
He hasn't. He honestly, like Michael Rubin probably was just as surprised as us.
Yeah, he was like
when it dropped, because here's the thing: Michael Rubin delegates. He's a smart business guy. He can't be in the weeds of everything. Because like, let's be real. Michael Rubin could do everything the best at his company, but there's only one Michael Rubin.
Right.
And sometimes Michael Rubin's got to spend his time in other places that are more valuable.
He's a CEO. He's not hands-on. He's not a Kyle Shanahan. He's not running the offense.
If he could clone himself, we have a different situation, but he can't.
He's a Bill Belichick. He's the CEO of the operation. He's no Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay.
Right.
So what are you supposed to do?
So that's the thing. And so I do feel bad. It does look bad, and it's funny because I was trying to order a jersey for my dad.
It turns out
I literally had to hunt down this jersey to order it. I was like, why are we just not like, it's Gunnar Henderson. Yeah, Gunnar Henderson's going to sell a lot of jerseys. Like not just in Baltimore anymore. Orioles are going nationwide. And I'm like, you're telling me I can't get the Rookie of the Year's jersey?
Well, it turns out
it's because they're replacing them. And I don't know, Patrick, what we gotta think through the official ranking here. Sports uniforms / jerseys across sports. Where we rank right now?
The best jerseys right now are probably the NBA jerseys.
Really?
I think those Nike jerseys are pretty solid.
Can I say this? I'm still gonna go football 1, strictly because I think, and that obviously this is gonna be different sports, and you guys, you're gonna say I'm contradicting myself. The no sponsors on the jerseys.
Okay, yes, I
to
agree
me,
with that.
elevates it because like
I
it's like
thought-
if it's this close, no sponsors.
I thought you meant as a fan, like me buying it as a fan.
No, I'm talking about like how like as a uniform jersey.
Oh, well then NFL number 1.
NFL number 1.
Yeah.
And I think I would make the argument, and you people are getting mad. NASCAR fire suit number 2.
That would really go against your anti-sponsor.
Right, but it's part of it, and that's why I knew people were going to get mad at me. But NBA jerseys aren't supposed to have sponsors. NASCAR sponsors is what makes it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly. I don't know.
I think NBA is 3. Actually, hockey has some sick. It's pretty sick. Hockey
MLB
jerseys.
used to be one of my favorites.
Well,
I don't know if I can.
we're talking about right now, Patrick.
Right now, I'd go last.
Now, where do you think like the golf polo ranks in there?
Yeah, probably down. It's probably low on the list, I would think.
Right. It's not really doing too much unique. No. But here's what I'll say about the golf polo is that it plays much better in regular life than other jerseys. Like I can go to an Adidas outlet, pick up a clearance golf polo, and I'm not just wearing that when I'm golfing. I'm wearing that when I'm doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, especially if you go down south. I mean, that's all they wear.
Right. And I could do that with football jersey. I could wear football jersey to dinner, but that doesn't. Are people gonna like that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think so.
You could wear that NASCAR jacket.
NASCAR jacket's sick.
Yeah, but it's not the fire suit.
Not the fire suit. It's not. If I will say if I went out in a fire suit, probably get some looks.
Well, but you got to remember. I mean, there's a reason why you wear that SV88 FC.
Right.
And so some would say you're just actually protecting yourself for if and when you get a call.
Right. Right.
Imagine you went fire suit then fire jacket.
Well, you know the interesting is about the fire suit is the NASCAR fire suits are actually graded higher than firefighter fire suits. So like I'd actually be safer going into a fire in a NASCAR fire suit.
What if you doubled up?
I think you doubled up like.
Or is that like a situation where there's too much friction?
I think if I doubled up, there's a chance that the only way for like I would have to get so hot that like I would actually melt before my skin got burned. Mm-hmm. Because that NASCAR, I mean those NASCAR fire suits turns out very safe. Like, and that's what I want to like make a petition in the fire service. Like, if we just started all wearing like sponsored up NASCAR jumpsuits going into the fires, I think that would be pretty sick.
Could you imagine getting like Bobby Hammond to sponsor the Shelbyville Fire Department?
Oh yeah,
and it's like we got the
you get the local guys.
We got the Phoenix Physical Therapy.
Yeah, I think that'd be sick. I think that's my order right now. It's NFL, NASCAR. Even though NASCAR doesn't play versatile, it's still the test of time. It hasn't changed. NBA. I'll go hockey, baseball, golf. And then unfortunately I'm not really familiar with the games of these other sports. Like I'm not sure what tennis. I think tennis is kind of low.
I don't know.
Kind of just close.
Yeah, it's just
athletic
close. Yeah.
Running, it's like the shorts are short. It's like which is cool sometimes, but not for me. I'm not really sure like bobsledding stuff like that. So that's bottom of the story is MLB jersey's not good.
Right.
Okay, Caitlin Clark. We got to talk about it. Elephant in the room. Turns out she's good at scoring, and she just set. And actually, some would say, LeBron argument. She's the greatest at scoring ever
In college. Yeah.
In women's college specifically.
Correct.
So my thing is, Caitlin Clark obviously sets the record, huge accomplishment. Is she the number one pick now, solidified?
That's if she goes.
Reset. Are we back? We're back.
That's if she goes.
Right.
So that's a tough conversation to have. because she is an icon. Like, if she ran for governor of Iowa right now, do you think she would have enough votes to win?
What's Iowa? Where do they lean?
I think they lean conservative, but it's more down the middle.
We're down the middle. I think she might get there. She'd have to run like the most, like if she just said like no politics and like every single time she went up to debate, they had a basketball hoop and she just shot.
Yeah, and then
then I think she wins.
And then if she was just like, I want to bring the competitive nature back to Iowa.
Right.
Boom, that's all.
Now, the only thing I will say is about that is whenever you run for anything office, people find a way to drag the skeletons out of the closet.
Could you imagine?
And she's got a pretty big skeleton when she accused fan of running into her when clearly she ran into the fan. And I didn't forget that.
We pull up the videotape during the debate.
Yeah. And like, what do you say there? Because she never apologized.
She didn't.
Oh, she did.
She didn't. I don't think she
Oh,
did.
she didn't. Yeah.
Maybe she did. We don't know.
So what do you do there? I don't.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes back up, and you see that and you go, oh, I don't know if I could trust her. But then if you immediately played her like break a set in the record and like a massive 3, then maybe you forget. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. What if she just like ran and was like, we're gonna beat LSU this time?
Then she might get it.
Which, by the way, shout out to Angel. Send a nice congratulations to her.
Oh, that's good.
It was good. It's
Well,
good.
the beef was manufactured.
It wasn't them two.
Turns out. What's going LSU not so good this year?
Yeah, well,
They were like very hyped up.
they were very hyped up. It turns out maybe Angel was suspended. Maybe she wasn't suspended. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know.
So we're just going to figure that out. I guess we'll see what March Madness rolls
Yeah,
around.
exactly. And it's not March, so they got time to figure that out.
Yeah, you got a whole like couple weeks at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. They'll be good. Caitlin Clark, though, massive record. She's probably, she's still got plenty of time to keep that, build on top of it, too. So, imagine if she comes back.
The point record may never be safe.
Right. Now, what's the argument for her to come back? Is that she can make more money in college than she could in the WNBA? Because I feel like I don't know how NIL works. But like when you sign a contract to get like endorsements, like
right,
is it dependent on you playing in college?
Right, that's what I mean. Like, couldn't she just get the endorsements in the WNBA?
Right. I don't know.
But then doesn't more people watch college basketball than the WNBA?
That's
I don't know.
I don't know the stats on that. I'm not sure. I don't want to make an assumption.
No.
Accusation. I think more people might be.
I do know that both ratings are going up. That I do know.
Right.
But I don't know where it falls.
I could tell you this. I've watched more college games in the past 2 years for women's than I have watched WNBA games. But I've watched the same amount of WNBA games as college games this year.
Right. And I'll tell you that I've significantly watched more WNBA game in person than women's college basketball game in person.
Right.
But on TV side, I think it's more women's college basketball.
Right. So there's a lot of factors playing in there. We're all going up, though.
Yeah, it's all going up.
Right. So that'd be good. Josh and Pat updates. Patrick, you're here. You're in Delaware for the week, and then you start your radio gig and a little commentating on SEC Network.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Starting that up next weekend. But for here, Josh and Pat, this is. Thanks for talking about the Daytona 500.
We didn't talk. We didn't get there.
Taking Denny Hamlin to win.
Okay, wait. Let's get back to it. I gotta write it down. Daytona 500 preview.
Yeah, I'm taking Denny Hamlin to win. Denny Hamlin might be my favorite driver now. Well, not my favorite, but one of my favorite.
Much.
I love him.
Disagree so much.
He's so cool too. And the part that I like about him is he's not like. I think it's good that like NASCAR. Well, I don't know if it's good. I think it's part of the appeal that NASCAR has like a very like kind of country redneck vibe. Like that's part of it. I think that's good, right? But I kind of love the fact that Denny's so anti that. He's like kind of a star, and he's kind of an OG. So
Right.
it's growing on me.
You know, my thing is I'm a more traditional guy when it comes to NASCAR. Like I grew up around the dirt track. And so
When was the first time you went to the dirt track?
probably when I was like 11,
Nice.
maybe 10.
And then when was the next time that you went?
I've been there.
Yeah,
so
you've been there, yeah.
So I grew up around the dirt track, and that's also how I got my start in the NASCAR sim racing. And so that like kind of culture.
I signed with Hendrick, by the way.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
Wow. So that's the kind of world that I grew up in. So I like the more country feel of it. Denny Hamlin, to me, I like that he talks because I think NASCAR drivers should show more personality. I just don't like what he says.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I like that he's at least creates a conversation.
Right, which they need to show more personality. People are gonna be mad at me. Like, I need more Ross Chastain punching people in the face moments. Like that, like show, like not even like you don't have to punch people in the face. Show emotion though. Show passion. Like stir something up. The reason that like the NFL is so exciting is because I have Eli Apple tweeting at players, and then he gets toasted, and then they tweet at. And I have players having podcasts, and after every single game, they're saying Michael Parsons is going. I just don't think. I think he's a game manager.
And you know what's so funny is then you get like the biggest star in the sport is Chase Elliott, right?
Yeah,
and he had like a pretty major scandal. Like he got suspended,
right,
for wrecking someone. Like that doesn't happen, right? He didn't talk about it at all. Like I think he's so much in his own head that he's like, I can't say anything in front of a microphone.
Right.
That he instead did it in the car and then got suspended. Like if he just would have let his emotions be shown on camera, maybe he doesn't right rear hook or left rear hook Denny Hamlin in the wall. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Right. And we've learned. It turns out when you open your mouth, bad things don't really happen. Kyle Larson got an upgrade and won a championship. Denny Hamlin, remember, he tweeted out what are some people are saying very offensive meme when after Kyle Larson wrecked somebody that won race. Do you remember it?
I vaguely remember this.
He tweeted out it was a video of like from Family Guy, I believe, of an Asian woman driving.
I think, I forgot that happened.
And like he was reprimanded for maybe 2 hours, and then like turns out people are like, oh,
now Noah
it was funny, and they know, and they're friends, so it's like.
And then Noah Gragson, he didn't say anything. He just the thumbs got going.
Right.
And he got an upgrade. So I don't know if that speaks more to the culture of NASCAR, but maybe that's not great. But
I don't know. But all I know is that we've shown that you can show personality, and you're not gonna lose every sponsor in the world, and you're not.
Ross Chastain gained sponsors. He got Busch Beer. He got the boys at Busch.
Right.
Busch Beer's on him now.
Well, me and Ross, we're done.
And it's your fault.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, it is.
But I personally, Patrick, it's so tough picking the winner of this thing because
it's a guy that's going to go an all-time run.
Well, no, I don't think so.
Wow.
And I don't know because my thing is, let's be real, anybody can win this race.
No.
Yes.
No.
Anybody in the top 20 drivers can win this race.
Correct.
Okay. And to me, that's anybody.
It's pretty much anybody. Yeah. I have a hard time believing that Kaz Grala is going to win this race.
I think Jimmy Johnson can win this race.
Actually, Kaz Grala probably could. He's in a front row car.
Jimmy Johnson can win this race, and he barely even made it.
Well, he got the help from Martin Truex. Two veterans of the game.
Right.
That's
so. Into this, I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I was, and maybe I've been spending way too much time with Dave Klein. But I think Bubba Wallace wins this.
I don't think so.
I think
it wouldn't shock me.
He was in a prime position last year.
He's very good at restricted plate tracks.
And I'm not, and I just think that that's I can feel it. I can feel it happening. Now, I have no quarrel with Bubba. Obviously, I will say that I'm in the neutral. I'm not a fan, but I'm not in it. He's not my enemy. You know? But I do think he wins.
He needs to win, and so does Tyler Reddick this year because they got some good cars at 23-11.
If he doesn't win, Reddick wins.
Reddick did win twice last year.
Right.
But Bubba Wallace won once the year before, too, in a 23-11. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't the rain delay win?
No. He won at Kansas.
Oh. So
they legitimate.
They have legitimate cars, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, but they should be getting better. So, I expect Bubba to win a race this year.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be number one. Mm-hmm. And then I just see, and because I'm not saying, if he wins, it's fixed. Okay? I'm not saying that.
It would be great for the sport if he wins.
But I think that in the same way that the Chiefs winning going to the Super Bowl was really great for the sport, for the NFL, not that they didn't earn it and win it because they had Patrick Mahomes, who's an all-time great quarterback. But I'm just saying,
it's great for the sport.
If the sport was rooting for somebody, I think they were rooting for Bubba.
Mm-hmm. Which I think would be good.
So, and would bring an audience in. So I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my prediction. Is that bold? Is that too bold to say?
Nah. I think it's a good prediction.
Cool. Well, that's actually the show. I don't have any updates for me.
I'm just here.
Just here. I think we're probably gonna hit the NASCAR sim pretty hard this weekend.
We will,
which I'm really excited for. Now you've been getting some work in the stick. I have not gotten any work in.
I'll tell you what, it's tough. I don't feel super confident where I'm at.
Right. You gotta just. It's gonna be one of those things where
because I do think the stick's harder with no.
Right, but we're not. We're talking. We will be racing the regular series this week, so
correct.
So that's gonna be a big deal now, and I actually think that we could probably count one of the races since we're head to head as towards the overall.
I think so. That makes sense.
So that's what I'm thinking. Are you gonna come over?
Yeah,
you're coming over for Sunday for the Daytona 500.
Oh, I don't know
because I think Dave Klein wants to get a bunch of food and we could come in. You could come in early. We could just hop on the sim all.
Well, I'm a little concerned about the weather forecast for Sunday.
Right, but we can get.
I'm not talking about here. I'm talking about in Daytona.
But then if you're here, it's even better because then we just rain delay sim racing.
Right, but I'm saying there's a chance they don't race at all Sunday. Is what I'm saying.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But what chance we would 100%?
No. I understand that. But then you say Dave Klein gets a bunch of food. I'm just saying that's
right. But bunch of food is always good.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay, that's the show, guys. Anyway, go to pigsandbacon.com to read everything happening in sports, and we'll see you guys on Monday for another episode of Josh and Pat. Peace.